Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, it is another hot, scorching day here in Waco. It's supposed to be up to 104 today, and so I'm desperately looking for something to do that doesn't involve going outside and suffering in the heat. In light of that, let's move on to today's vlog subject. You may recall about a couple months ago that my mother got me a new dresser for my bedroom for my birthday, and you may recall that a few weeks ago I repurposed that old dresser and turned it into a storage box for all these old photographs I've inherited over the past few years. Now, that dresser, before I emptied it out and moved everything into the new dresser, there were actually 4 drawers on it. 3 of them actually had clothes in it, which was the stuff that went into the new dresser. But the 4th drawer I had used to keep like memories from my childhood. And since those weren't just going to get piled into the new dresser and forgotten, I wanted to kind of pull those out and maybe do a little talking about those, because some of those little memories of my childhood are things that actually were kind of instrumental in turning me into the person I am. You got to remember, when I was a kid, my parents really tried to push my sister and I into outside activities. They tried a little bit with sports. That never really worked out with me. I'm not very athletic in that way and wasn't that interested in it. They tried to get me into music. That didn't take either. I can understand what was going on there because my dad's parents were professional opera singers. My dad loved to sing in the church choir and other things like that. And they tried to get me into some of the musical things too. They tried to have me do piano lessons and later on play the clarinet and saxophone, all things that never really took off because I wasn't really that interested in them. They also tried to get me to be involved in the youth choir. Now, fortunately for me, that was actually an important stage in my life because it kind of, one event in that choir kind of set the stage for everything that would come after that for me. I was in the choir for a very short period of time, and the pastor who was running the youth choir realized right off the bat my heart wasn't into it, and he decided instead to say, you know what you ought to do is you ought to be our sound person. And so from then on, I learned how to run the mixer, and I was the sound guy for that choir. I later, with my dad, helped build the sound system in our church, and took a recording engineering degree, got into the compact disc world, and so that one little event made big changes that kind of reverberated through much of the rest of my life. And probably it was that interest in technology that got me into computers and even got me into making my own little vlogs. So in a way, Pastor Tom was kind of an inspiration in bringing this vlog to light. But while the music thing never took off, there were other things that my parents encouraged my sister and I to get involved in. And one of those things I'm going to show you a little bit today. So let's take a look at this. One of the earliest things that my father and I got involved in together was we were a member of the Indian Guides. This was something set up by the YMCA at the time, and it was kind of a father and son get together and bonding kind of thing. We went out and we'd have meetings, and we'd go camping, and we'd go stay overnight in parks and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun stuff that we just kind of did and hung out. And like I said, it was an opportunity for my father and I to bond, and that was really probably one of the first things that we ever really kind of bonded with. I don't know how much he was into me initially when I was a kid, but when we started doing stuff like this and started bonding together, our relationship changed a lot. And then a year or two later, when I was old enough, I skipped over the Cub Scouts altogether because I was in Indian Guides at that point. But when I got too old to be in the Indian Guides, I moved into Webelos, which was kind of a midpoint between the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. And I was in that for a couple of years, and these were some of the awards I won and the patches I got. And I guess I was in it for 2 years. So I got the 2-year thing. On the back here is some homework assignment things I kind of had to do to earn one of the awards. But that was kind of a fun thing because once again we were going out and doing some camping and hiking and kind of some of the stuff you start thinking about when you think about Boy Scouts and the likes. Now this is a plaque that I was awarded when I graduated from the Webelos into the Boy Scouts. It turns out one of the fathers, the father of a real good friend of mine, was quite the woodworker, and that may be where I got it a little bit, but he made these custom plaques for everyone who graduated from Webelos that have their troop number, some of their pins, their year pins, their awards that they received, their Arrow of Light, and you got that when you graduated from the Webelos. And like I said, it continued. I moved into Boy Scouts. This is my original merit badge sash. I guess it looks like I got about 25 merit badges. Looks like about 8 skill awards. That's my original belt from Boy Scouts. My beret when I was in the leadership corps. Yeah, the beard didn't have anything to do with that. The pants I wore, my original, well, later on, my most recent uniform. One of the cool things is, as a Boy Scout, I actually made it all the way to the rank of Eagle. And they say that like 2% of the boys that enter the Boy Scouts actually make it that far. And it was actually kind of cool. When I was thinking about this, I remembered I had an audio recording of my Eagle ceremony that I haven't probably listened to in probably 40 years on audio cassette. And I went over today and pulled a audio cassette player out of my collection of ancient, obsolete technology. I found one that actually works, and I've actually digitized the entirety of my Eagle ceremony. So you'll hear little bits and pieces of that here. But these are some of the patches of things that we did for activities. I was part of the leadership corps. I was a junior assistant scoutmaster. Some of the stuff that we went to, little adventures we went on. My Explorer Scout patch. Some of the neckerchiefs I wore over the years. I was in two different troops because we moved to a couple of different churches at different points during that part of my life. I grew up at this St. Timothy church, but at one point we moved over to another church called Holy Cross, and I became part of Troop 602. But then I ended up going back to St. Timothy again and rejoining Troop 140, and I stayed with them all the way through the end of my Eagle, all the way through, getting my Eagle Award and, leaving Scouts because I was too old. And at the end, I was actually part of a leadership corps called the Tribe of Tockwitz. I was inducted into their group, but like I said, at that point, I'd more or less outgrown the Boy Scout thing and was kind of doing things on my own. At that point, I was going to college, and I had other things to focus my attention on. Now I have some other memorabilia also. This is an old photograph, photo book here, and this book is coming apart. So I think one of the things we're going to probably do during the rest of the day here is I'm going to probably put this into, rebuild this and put this into a 3-ring binder. But there is a picture of me on my first Boy Scout meeting, and it's dated June 1975, Troop 602. Like I said, this thing's coming apart here. This is my graduation, photograph of my graduation from Webelos into the Boy Scouts, and my patch for there, or my certificate of completion for that. That's the card that I got when I got my Arrow of Light, which is this patch right here. This is part of your growing, moving from the Webelos into the Boy Scouts. That's kind of one of the main points that you have to do before you move on. And so that there was my certificate for that. Some of the camps that I went to. Like I said, this whole book is falling apart. It's in really bad shape, so I'm gonna try and kind of keep it together and move it into like sheet protectors and put it in a 3-ring binder so we can hopefully keep this stuff alive here. But some of the documents from my merit badges I received, some of the positions I held. I was a scribe at one point. There's some of my rank advancements. I think this is the Scout, Tenderfoot, 2nd class, 1st class. Other camping places I went were cards from merit badges. Here's my star award right there. when I went to Star. One of my scoutmasters, Bert Hazelwood. Now, as I was working my way towards Eagle, there were certain awards that had to do with citizenship and U.S. citizenship, city, local citizenship, world citizenship, and one of the things I was encouraged to do was to write a letter to my congressman, and about some issue of the time. And at the time, I was talking about President Ford's swine flu immunization program, and I sent a letter to my congressman, Jerry Patterson. He's out of office now, been out of office for a long time, and that was his reply. More photographs. Like I said, this thing's coming apart. More merit badge cards. The card when I got my life, which was a step before Eagle. I don't know if I've still got that patch. Let's see if that's in here somewhere. No, this is something, a letter I got when I participated in some, I think it was a food bank that I worked at in conjunction with my Boy Scout stuff. Probably a lot of times when you had an advancement from one rank to another in the Boy Scouts, part of it was you had to perform some sort of a community service, and so this was probably in 1978 they're saying, so that was, I don't know, probably maybe getting to the Life Award. More merit badges. My official acknowledgement from the Boy Scouts that I was an Eagle Scout. That was kind of cool to have. Some of the documents I had to fill out in preparation for it. Different, letters from different people congratulating me on becoming an Eagle Scout. This guy's was at a time a high-ranking member of the Boy Scouts, and so he sent me a letter. This is another one from someone else within the Boy Scouts. Congratulating me, and then we start getting into something else from the Boy Scouts. Start getting Paul Carpenter. He was a congressman in California at the time. I believe one of the congressmen that I actually got to go meet. I don't think it was this guy. I think it was this guy, Alan Cranston, and it's kind of interesting because I believe he was removed from office from some sort of a scandal. I'll have to look that up and see if I can figure that out. But different people congratulating me on reaching the rank of Eagle. One from the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan. And that was kind of cool. And then here's some photos of the actual Eagle ceremony and some of my friends. And I'm gonna actually shut up for a minute right now, and I'm gonna play some of the audio in the background so you can hear parts of that.
The Boy Scouts of America constitute one of the most wholesome and significant movements in the world's history. You have been judged by this group of being worthy of the highest rank in this great movement. All who know you rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as you well know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are a marked man. As an Eagle Scout, you have assumed a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to country, and to your fellow Scouts, and to mankind in general. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you bring honor to yourself and to your brother Scouts. America has many good things to give to you and your children after you, but these good things depend for the most part on the quality of her citizens. Our country has had a great past. You can make the future even greater. I charge you, Eagle Scout Breck Rowell, to be a leader among men, but lead only toward the best, bringing yourself to the highest level of service to God and your fellow man. By so doing, you will leave behind you only a record that every Scout that follows you may be justly proud. Breck, will you give the Scout sign and repeat after me? I, Breck Rowell, do realize the obligation to my fellow man, my home, my country, and my God. I will at all times do my best to assist other scouts who are climbing the Trail of Eagle,
to assist other scouts who are climbing the Trail of Eagle,
and to give back more to scouting than it has given to me,
to give back more to scouting than it has given to me,
and to assist my troop as much as possible,
and to assist my troop as much as possible,
and to be a living example
and to be a living example
of the Scout oath and law
of the Scout oath and law
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Now this is actually the invite that went out to invite people to the ceremony where I was given my Eagle Award. So this was a plaque that I was awarded when I was given my Eagle Scout. Basically, it shows all the different patches that you need to get up to the Eagle rank. That there is the actual program for my Eagle ceremony, and my actual Eagle pin is right there. Now, during the Eagle Scout ceremony, they light candles at different points of the ceremony to represent different parts of the priorities of Scout law and the things that are important to Boy Scouts. These are actually the candles that were used. I still have them. Yeah, I'm a bit of a pack rat, sorry. Now, as I mentioned a little earlier in the video, as you moved up in rank and got further and further up in the ranks, they began requiring little community service projects in order to move to the next stage. It wasn't just building up your own skills, but it was giving something back to the community. And when you get up to the Eagle rank, they have a very special, you got to take charge of something and do something significant. And they call that your Eagle project, and has to be approved by the Scoutmaster. It has to be approved by whoever the beneficiary is, and it's a big project. It's a big deal. And what I chose to do, I was at St. Timothy Lutheran Church at that time in Long Beach, and they had a house right next to it that they were currently using as a daycare center. And up until then, they didn't really have any good means of irrigating the yard, so they just had to get out there with a hose all the time. And so I decided, as an Eagle project, I was going to build a sprinkler system. And so these are some of the documents that were associated with that, showing the different ideas for different kinds of heads we were going to put in the area. You know, drew out the house and figured out how that was all going to work. Like I said, I had to coordinate with the church because it was their property and they had to approve it, and the Scoutmaster had to approve it. There was all sorts of paperwork associated with that. That's actually the list of different parts that I was going to need to pull that all together. And we did spend a whole bunch of time planning for that, and in the end ended up installing it pretty quick. This was actually the report that I submitted to the church on my idea, documenting how it was all going to work, and then afterwards we included photographs of the project as it was going on. This is us, that was the house right there, different angles. So we had to figure out how to water all the lawn, all across the front, all of this in here, and basically I had to do it with volunteer help. And so I got friends to come in and help. That's the finished product right there. We didn't have all the slick solenoid sprinkler things. You had to turn everything on manually. But this was us digging in, digging all the trenches for the pipes, and the finished product working at the end. It was funny. I was just listening to the recording of my Eagle ceremony, and one of the Scoutmasters was talking about the Eagle project itself, kept mentioning that there was this palm tree that we ran into and its roots just kept getting in the way, and I'm guessing that's the palm tree right there. It was funny. I don't even remember the story about the palm tree, but it was definitely part of the Eagle ceremony. But yeah, that's me standing next to my finished product. Now, you're basically too old to be in the Boy Scouts when you become 18, and I became an Eagle Scout about 3 months before my 18th birthday. So almost directly after that, I joined a kind of a leadership corps of the Boy Scouts. For our particular district, it was called the Tribe of Tockwitz. Camp Tockwitz was a place where we always did our summer camps. And so This was some of the stuff about this was just about the tribe, about the Camp Tockwitz and kind of the history of it and all this. But this is like a book about different parts of becoming part of the tribe of Tockwitz. They were very Native American oriented, so there was a lot of different. You could pick 4 or 5. There were 4 or 5 different types of costume styles that you could pick to be when you became a member. Like I said, I didn't stick with it very long after this because I started going to college and had other priorities. But yeah, this was all kind of what it was that kind of made me who I am, because one of the things I kind of developed for this has been a lifelong love of nature and being outside, and you've seen that by some of the enthusiasm that I have when I go to go on hikes and go visit some natural something. Yeah, that all kind of started with all this. And since that's sort of an important part of what made me who I am, I kind of wanted to share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.